Alright, boys, let's talk about a showdown that never truly gets the respect that it deserves. Batman vs. Wolverine. Now, obviously, on the surface, this might seem like a very lopsided fight. I mean, Wolverine's got claws, healing factor, unbreakable bones, while Batman is literally just a guy with gadgets and peak human conditioning. But trust me, this fight is way more close than people would actively give it credit for. We're talking about two icons who represent completely differing styles of combat and philosophies, and in a situation where they could possibly clash, it's very much anything but predictable. This is a very just kind of, random thought that I was having through my head from two characters from obviously these two very different universes. So I was really just like considering and thinking about like what would a fight between these look like, and obviously this is how we kind of landed on this video. So sit back, grab a coffee, grab whatever, and just really listen to what my specific opinions on this are. So the first thing that we are already gonna have to talk about is their physical conditioning. Batman has the peak of human physicality, strong enough to lift over 1,000 pounds, fast enough to dodge bullets, and tough enough to survive explosions. This isn't just training, it's an obsession with perfection. He conditions himself daily with routines designed to push him to his absolute limits, ensuring he's always prepared for absolutely anything. While Batman doesn't have superpowers, his strength and reflexes and endurance often let him go toe-to-toe with superpowered foes that really would honestly be kind of considered like, Bane, Killer Croc, or some of the more strong people that he actually has to face. Wolverine's, on the other hand, has basically a cheat code of a healing factor, and he doesn't really need to train to maintain his peak performance. His body just stays there. Beyond healing, obviously, his body is incredibly durable, and thanks to the adamantium-laced skeleton, he makes him even more nearly unbreakable. But Wolverine isn't just coasting on genetics. He's built like a tank and has the raw strength to tear through steel. The main reason why I honestly consider that this would be a close is Batman has to rely on precision, stamina, and skill, while Wolverine just tanks hits and recovers. Batman is better conditioned for extended combat, but Wolverine's durability makes him a nightmare to put down. And really speaking about that fact that Batman relies so much on that, we have to talk about the combat skills and training. Batman is a character that knows over 127 different martial arts, ranging from Krav Maga to Jiu-Jitsu, and he uses them with almost surgical-like precision. He has the ability to read his opponents and counter their moves that makes him almost unbeatable in hand-to-hand combat. We've seen Batman take on entire armies of henchmen and come out without a singular scratch. Wolverine's fighting style, on the other hand, is wild but calculated. Sure, he fights like a berserker, but that doesn't mean he's unskilled. With over a century's worth of combat experience, he has mastered forms of fighting most people haven't even heard of, and he has a lot more fighting experience just due to the fact that he is basically just a brawler. Wolverine's combat instincts are honed to almost perfection, making him a very lethal combatant even when more outskilled in a match. Really just talking about this, Batman is a methodical kind of character, while Wolverine is primal. Batman would try to find and exploit weaknesses, but Wolverine's ability to adapt through sheer ruthlessness would just be able to balance the scales well better than anything else. Now, obviously, as I just said, Batman's methodical. He is a true tactical genius, while Wolverine relies basically off animalistic instinct. With Batman, you don't need to go up against the Justice League and win without being you don't just get to be the basically leader of the Justice League without being a tactical mastermind. Batman is a character that is always 10 steps ahead. He is the king of preparation, capable of analyzing opponents' weaknesses and exploiting them to perfection. His mind is his greatest weapon, and in a fight against someone like Wolverine, he'd absolutely have to plan to take him down. Wolverine, obviously, on the other hand, doesn't need prep time. He fights off instinct. Decades of combat experience have made him a master of adapting on the fly. His unpredictability makes him almost impossible to fully outplan, because one, he doesn't fight fair and he doesn't hold back. The raw, animalistic fighting style that he often just has gives him a very big edge over more calculated opponents. Batman's prep time is legendary, but Wolverine's ability to improvise and throws his opponents off their game would very much even the playing field in a fairly decent, good amount of ways. Now, obviously, if we're talking about Batman, we have to talk about the one thing that everyone knows is going to be a very main factor in this, and that would be the gear and gadgets. Batman is a character that has so much money that it is absolutely hilarious, first of all, and the amount of gear and gadgets that he has is almost unfathomable. The entire utility belt that he has is an absolute game changer. He's got tools for basically every situation: smoke bomb, EMPs, cryogenic capsules, even sonic weapons designed to disorient enemies. He could use electrified grenades to neutralize whatever he can try to do, or just use anything that he could think of to neutralize Wolverine for at least a couple seconds, or just temporarily deploy traps to immobilize him. Batman's tech gives him the ability to fight smarter and not harder, and it would very much be an entirely amazing asset for him to have against somebody like Wolverine, a person that doesn't need gadgets. His claws and his healing factor are more than enough. The adamantium claws can, one, cut through almost anything, including Batman's armor. One good slash and it most likely would be game over, and his durability also means that he can take hits from Batman's gadgets and still keep it coming. Batman's gadgets can keep Wolverine somewhat at bay, but Wolverine only really needs one very decisive blow to choose the end of the match. The only good thing about that being the fact of Batman, one, being used to fighting people multiple levels stronger than him and being an absolute master of combat, being able to dodge and maneuver his way out of any specific situation. If they were to fight, it would most likely be a situation where Batman would know, first of all, do not get caught or do not get touched by any of his specific movements, due to the fact that that could be a very decisive way to just get this fight out of the question and just get it gone so much faster than anything else. Now, obviously, this would mean that he would have to keep this fight lasting longer and longer, and the endurance and durability between these characters is just something that's very much different. Batman is a guy that doesn't quit. He has fought for hours on end, taken beatings that would cripple most people, and still found a way to win. His mental toughness is just as impressive as his physical endurance. He is the definition of grit. But Wolverine, let's be real, Wolverine's endurance is borderline unfair. His healing factor means that he can keep fighting after losing what most opponents would be down for the count for. He can regenerate from injuries almost instantly, and makes it nearly impossible for him to be taken out of commission entirely. Batman's willpower might be enough to keep him in the fight longer than expected, but Wolverine's healing factor ensures that he can outlast basically anyone. Now, the biggest downfall for Bruce would be the fact of his morality. The no-kill rule makes this extremely tricky, and because he's not trying to, destroy Wolverine, he's trying to more likely incapacitate him. If this is a fight where Bruce is absolutely on a killing spree and he's really, really, really willing to kill, there are probably specific things that he could use to take Wolverine out of the question for, and that specifically being a weapon that I think I can remember. And while I'm probably going to absolutely butcher the name, the weapon is the Muramasa Blade, which is a weapon that Wolverine specifically himself has stated would be able to kill him. Like, the specific thing about this weapon is, one, Wolverine, as I said, has stated that the weapon is the only thing on Earth that can truly kill him, and it is strong enough to basically cut adamantium like butter. If Batman has the prep time, if Batman has the entire knowledge and foresight to grab this specific blade, and as I said, he is willing to forego his no-kill rule, this would mean that he would possibly find a weapon that could take Wolverine out and actually have more of a fighting chance against him. This would obviously mean that Batman has to not hold back, specifically due to the fact that Wolverine wouldn't be. Wolverine is a character that fights to win. He's not afraid of going for lethal blows, and his killer instinct gives him a significant edge in a fight where Batman has to usually pull punches. Hence why I have to say, the only actual sight and way that I see him winning would be if he's actually going for the kill. In a situation where he's not and he's trying to incapacitate him, it gets a lot more challenging and a lot more tricky. In a situation like that, he would need an environmental advantage where he actually can deal with a lot of things. In Gotham, Batman owns the entirety of the terrain. He knows every alleyway, every rooftop, every shadow, and he can be using them to his advantage at any specific given moment in time. Wolverine, on the other hand, would most definitely strive in the wilderness, or specifically something like a natural setting. Wolverine's tracking skills and primal instincts give him a very much upper hand, which, hilariously enough, those tracking skills and those primal instincts would not work on Batman whatsoever. In a situation where, yes, Wolverine has the smell and the entire kind of just heightened senses, we have seen people literally like Superman, people like the Flash, or whatever, not even be able to notice Batman is standing right next to them until he feels like he wants to make his appearance known and let everyone else know that he's there. If you can get past Superman's entire senses and Superman can't even hear your heartbeat, Wolverine's not going to be able to find him whatsoever, which would make it even more impressive due to the fact of he could quite literally sneak up on Wolverine and get a killing blow if he has the weapon that actually can kill him, or could use very different ways to just take Wolverine down in very many brutal fashions, to say the least. These two probably would end the fight with mutual respect, especially if we're just going with the option of, not going for the kill, recognizing each other as warriors and survivors, and Batman would admire Wolverine's resilience and determination. This would be a very interesting fight to say the least about, and at the end of the day, Batman versus Wolverine is a lot closer than most people would think. It's not just a battle of brain versus brawn. It's a clash of philosophies, tactics, and sheer willpower. And honestly, it could go either way depending on the circumstances. But what do you think? Does Batman's genius edge out Wolverine's, Wolverine's ferocity? Or does Logan's healing factor just, make him almost completely unbeatable? Let me know down in the comments, and obviously, don't forget to leave a like, share, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification before more, updates on videos like this. I will see you guys in the next video. If you guys did enjoy this, obviously, just do what I already asked, and with all that said, peace.